Hi, happy new moon, everybody. So I've been away for a while. Didn't mean it to be like a break. Just I obviously needed some time out, and I was ill during that time. So it's quite fitting that I'm back for the Scorpio new moon, which happened this morning around 3 o'clock in the morning GMT, because we've gone back to GMT as opposed to BST in the UK, because I think the clocks went backwards. I can never remember which way. So you probably can't see very well, but I decided to pull a grand tableau with Lenormand for this kind of new moon, and I'm going to kind of go through it over the next kind of in a few installments really. So I'm going to try and I haven't started doing this very well, so I'm gonna let's see how this goes. Okay, so when I was pulling a grand tableau, which is all of the Lenormand cards, which are 36, I love a grand tableau because it shows you all, and I decided I would do a collective reading with it, and the heart card flipped over. And I, like even with tarot or various other cards, what I have a tendency to do is I make a mental note, but if it doesn't show up in any other reading or doesn't turn out to be significant, I'm not that interested in it. Now, I already knew this was going to be significant. Personally, it's significant. It's hitting pretty much all my planets. But the London chart, which you can probably see here, has the angles at cardinal degrees at 0, 0. And so obviously Aries point you have, which is 0, 0, Aries, which is on the descendant. I thought that was significant. Also its opposite, Uranus, which is seen as the great awakener. Now you can be awakened in easy ways or hard ways. And usually new and full moons fall into that category as well. Usually new moons are easier. Scorpio with Uranus, it kind of is probably going to act like a little bit like a full moon in general. So, so looking at the heart card, so I'm reading this back, which is very simple in the fact that it does. Sorry, ignore that. It does. I can't see where it is. It's quite easy to see that actually, yes, it's about love and passion. Now, in Lenormand, it's very symbolic, so it is love and passion. It's very, whereas tarot, you have about 100 different ways to read a card. Lenormand tends to be a lot simpler and cut and dry. It's about 5 or 10 things that you can use that card for. And if you look at the top of it, you see the key. Now, the key tends to be how you see an exclamation mark, or something's going to be revealed, you're going to understand something, or something sometimes just says this is important. Note it's above the heart key, so it's already quite interesting. And then if I look at where the heart is, because you can use houses too, it's in the house of the heart, so it is an important card. It's saying this is really the center of the reading, even though there's lots more that you can get out of it. But here you've got the issue of love and growth, because obviously right next to it, growth, spirituality, right next to it is the tree. Then you've got power and strength with the bear, and then you've got house. Now the house can be metaphorical as well, because the house it can be symbolic of your body. It can also be symbolic of safety. You go home, you feel safe, you can kick off your shoes, you can put your house clothes on, like you're safe from the world. So there is a question about, where do you love? Where's your, do you love yourself? And is your physical home? Do you love your home? Are you feeling, safe and powerful? Questions about, what about your spirituality and growth? So even if you just look at that corner, and right next to the key there, you see that I'm the world's worst cameraman, woman. You see the wit. So that tends to be the dark night of soul, but on a more mundane level, it can be your own worries that you have when it's, in the privacy of your own room, where you kind of like start to worry about things. So I think this kind of just looking at these small areas, you can say, well, okay, this new moon is going to be about, love. Do you feel safe in, do you trust yourself? Where do you feel your strength and your power lies? Do you feel at home with yourself? Do you feel at home in your physical house? Do you feel safe? This also links, I always think that the home always links to your, if you're talking about physical safety and feeling at home with yourself, you're looking at the root chakra. So if you are if you do want to look up more about it, delve into the root chakra. Maybe in the next video I'll delve a little bit more in that connection. But actually a lot of our trauma, if we've had any physical trauma or anything like that, it will be stored there, and it will help us. We won't feel grounded, because grounded is another way that we can feel safe, because we're more aware. So this is, to me, the heart of the reading, but there's a lot of other things. As you can see, there's 36 cards going on, and there's a lot more. We've got the fate line to go through, the 4 cards at the bottom, the first 4. So actually, if we go to the first card that leads us into the reading, that is the ring. And the ring is about contracts and commitment. And then you've got the mice, which is worries and nervousness and anxiety, and worrying about, and can be lost. So your commitment, love is all kind of interconnected in this reading. And it's quite interesting that we also have the conversation about, the house being safety. You've got the good old Saturn card in the corner, which is the Tower. And it can be both protection and a barrier. And sometimes we need barrier, and sometimes we need boundaries. And linking to the house. And then we've got the confusion, clearing. So to me, this is all about your own strength, your own, where you feel protected. Are you putting barriers up instead of actually boundaries? Because barriers are, if you think of a house, you think about, there's a difference between if you were setting out boundaries of your house, there's a difference between having a fence and having a barbed wire, 8-foot fortress around your house. And I think that's your barrier you're telling people to keep out. Whereas a boundary is going, okay, well, it's pretty and you can still access it, but you have to have permission and a reason to come in. And I think that's the main difference. So here we're talking about commitment, we're talking about perhaps that isolation or, protection, and then you have the house. And we're talking about that cornerstone, your own physical safety. How do you feel safe? Do you feel safe in your relationships? Do you feel safe in yourself? Do you love yourself? Are you erecting boundaries, barriers against people being able to love you? And to be loved, you have to actually be open to receiving love, which is a whole different topic. I'm kind of going a little bit off topic. I guess I haven't done a video for a while, so I'm rambling. And then here we have obviously the commitment, worries about that, and then we have some confusion about the direction to go. So this is kind of a snapshot. I wanted to, I'm moving the camera around, of the reading. I'm aiming to do this in stages because it's so rich, but I wanted to say that, this is a great opportunity. Obviously we're talking about Scorpio. Scorpio is a sign of transformation. If you want, it can be going in depth. It's opposite the Great Awakener. We've got cardinal angles. Cardinal always about initiation. So this is a really great time for you to make those changes. And also Scorpio and Taurus are this sign of needing to feel at home and safe and trust. And then you get the word love coming up as well. So love and trust are interlinked, but actually you have to commit. So even because, Taurus, and also when I bring in this other element of between the Taurus and Scorpio, especially when you're doing kind of mediumship and physical mediumship, there is this thing that you have to be grounded within yourself before you can go out of your body safely, which is what physical mediumship is. And actually, most people would think that you would have to be, you don't have to be grounded, but you do. You need to be grounded to be to hold an anchor, spirit here, but also to make sure you don't get lost in it, and you're actually making sure that you're looking after yourself, making sure that you're not disconnected, making sure that you can come back to your body safely, and you are working with the right energies. And Scorpio is very much about the trust, about going out of your body. So it is a very, you know, and Scorpio is that deep water sign. So I'm not saying Cancer is not, but I'm just saying that it goes into those murky depths, whereas Cancer is more likely the clearer water, whereas Scorpio is going to see that swamp and go into it and delve into it and find out and clear it up. You know, like, you know, you see a lot of these kind of lakes and things having to be, or even think about a pool that needs to be kind of cleared up because it's been in an abandoned house for a while and it needs to have all the algae removed. It has to be cleaned before it's safe for anyone to go in. That's very much a kind of Scorpio, you know, get rid of, you know. It also looks after excretion. So it's about elimination, getting rid of the things that don't work and purifying them. So I kind of went off on a tangent there, but to me this is very much about the love card, growth, being at home, and this is very much about there is such a big connection between our spirituality, our mystic abilities, and, you know, our physical life, and we shouldn't separate them at all. And I think this is a good, you'll see in this full moon and this new moon up until the full moon, that actually, you know, you can't separate. You need to be you know, look after yourself to be able to do to mystically be able to be kind of a pure, clear channel, messenger, or whatever you believe you are. Anyway, happy new moon, and hopefully I won't ramble in the next one, but it's nice to be back.